Welcome everyone for some emergency breaking news update just when you finished live streaming and enjoy the Friday evening. The next breaking news emerges here. So many security vulnerabilities. You can't even catch up with all of them. And that is such epic jailbreak insecurity vulnerability news here. I was considering to stream it tomorrow, but no, it is so breaking, so amazing. Computer scientists, coders, programmers, they are out there, worked apparently a year, and knowing such kind of low-level stuff, totally believable that this for sure was 1 year's work. And so introducing Checkmate, read Checkmate, a permanent unpatchable boot ROM exploit for hundreds of millions of iOS devices. Yes. And so most generations of iPhones and iPads are vulnerable, from iPhone 4S A5 chip to iPhone 8. Hey, look what we got here over aging iPhone 6S and iPhone X A11 chip. Here on Twitter, Axiom something, and here open source on GitHub. And of course people in the comments immediately ask, because this is already starting to trickle on some major news sites, of course 560 comments, and you might wonder, like those people on Twitter, what does it mean for you? Well, it is only local via USB there, or Lightning, which obviously is USB. And no, I don't want to write there. I wanted also here Twitter usability in there, what, 2019. And this is of course a summary which we could go over, but people ask there, can we have jailbreak and so on? And so of course the answer is not so fast. Of course, many major news sites already title jailbreak whatsoever. Yes, jailbreak, and this feat is amazing, this achievement unlocked, super well done, especially for us. All the people might say, but our security, yes, our security, but I just a couple of hours before I even realized this, although it's already 10 hours old, only realized it now. I just called out whether it's Android or iOS stuff that we own and purchased for good money. We didn't rent it, we didn't lease it, we didn't borrow it, we didn't, I don't know what. We own those devices, and everyone should be able to install their software, be it Windows, Linux, Haiku, Dragonfly BSD, Minix, you name it, especially as even my aging 6S will soon be out of software updates. So not so fast, no full custom firmware with Cinder or any other app store yet, although ironically just in today's breaking news just some hours ago we had Alt Store for alternative Wi-Fi synced App Store goodness. So many things coming together, and in my opinion Apple so deserves it. I totally appreciate this, and somewhere not sure if on maybe here, maybe even here, yeah, so on this, so you can do this, I think maybe even on Linux, at least they write libUSB. I have not yet tried this because I still run my email from this, so don't whatever. So mostly like 90% using Galaxy S and otherwise S10, otherwise emails on the iPhone, because why not? They write here maybe even Linux compatible. No, this is Mac Linux. Somewhere they write Linux is possible. Yes, Linux is possible, but again, just like with this Twitter comments, not so fast. Someone has to write it, right? So it would be theoretically possible to boot Linux on or any iPhone, including iPhone X or 10 or whatever you want to call it, but someone needs to write it, right? So this bootloader exploit is written and works, so someone would need still to port all the stuff, because on some sites they write Linux and Android, and yeah, theoretically if someone, like, maybe not me, but, and ironically or incidentally, I just called out with, don't have my original iPhone with me, but I was just some months ago talking about resurrecting this previous Linux on iPhone stuff for the very first generation iPhone and iPad. So maybe that is coming soon to this channel. And as fun fact, just here what you are doing while you wait for your sister-in-law to land here and pick up from there. I was actually just rediffing and working on this SGI Octane, not making this up here, 1958, just before I rushed to the airport. Yeah, maybe we're doing this, maybe not, but writing Linux for this is an enormous effort, because it means reverse engineering all the bits and pieces of this SOC for, actually I forgot to turn the lighting on, anyway, for all reverse engineering all these bits and pieces, so that would be an enormous effort, years long. Maybe we are contributing a little bit. And if someone is working on this, would be amazing to coordinate. I will for sure, as per video, previous video live streams, just from a month ago, I will for sure try to resurrect this very old iBoot Linux stuff patches for the very first gen iPhone and iPad. Yet it is old up and done there, yet we are collecting interesting stuff like the Origin 200 here in the corner. And so this is at least for the first generation coming soon here, and maybe, but maybe then also we continue. Not that I'm saying, I'm not saying I have already enough work for people asking me for RISC stuff, for P3 stuff, and of course we love to do it. And fun fact, if I would have basic income and I would be able to do this the whole day and not care about my commercial customers who pay the rent and all the YouTube equipment here, I would do this all day long. But fun fact is, you can't live from this. So, but Octane updates, maybe even we tomorrow boot the Origin 200, because I need to test this Octane patches, which obviously I don't have with me because it's in the office. Also, recurring shout out. This is such an enormous amount of work, because all the ARM stuff is not as compatible. So on a PC you just load master boot record, DOS or Windows or Linux or BSD or Haiku or Minix or any other fun stuff in between. On ARM, unfortunately, because, and this is also a little bit of an historic mistake, you know, this kind of, I would love to have time travel and go back in time and correct this totally chaotic ARM ecosystem, which only like a little bit sorts out the last years, because what things may have crashed, what do you mean is crashed, sounds got strange, what do you mean got strange? How could sound become strange? I hope it was. What happened with the video and sound? Don't tell me we need to reiterate everything again. Was it okay in the beginning? 2019, the magic of Pöttering software and Pulse Audio. It was okay in the beginning. Seriously, you can't make this stuff up. Do you have anything on the DMASC here? Yeah, this is also the Phoronix based security, where we even have, we have here, also want to close that X term. Also the stupid limited DMASC, what was it even? We could probably fact check that. DMASC boot kconfig 5.2 something restricted DMASC, totally annoying. this. I only did this for the making fun of Ronix. Okay, let's see tomorrow how bad this audio, how long it was broken. Really need to watch my comments here. It's hilarious. What I wanted to say is, and concluding this live stream, it is so sad that the ARM ecosystem is so fragmented, not only in terms of Android, but platform support. This is like, in a way, the worst thing that could have happened to the ARM ecosystem. Maybe we would have even ARM PCs and ARM servers already for a long time, but the problem, of course, all the SOCs are totally incompatible. So even on Android, you cannot just boot one Android on another, just like you would normally boot a Windows XP on any PC. And this is why you can't just copy the software over. Although it's ARM, it's like nearly identical, although that is using Power VR graphics. Of course, later use Apple graphics, and this is using Mali or whatever. That is why porting there is an enormous effort, so no Linux or Android anytime soon, especially as it's Power VR graphic, which we also, fun fact, wanted to reverse engineer here in terms of Sony via copyright. But anyway, totally amazing stuff to come. So what's, as a summary, also because the video is broken, now we have most people, a minute or so. Yeah, thank you for that shout out. I wish I could live stream without Pulse Audio. Actually, I previously compiled Firefox with ALSA only. I only need Pulse Audio for this OBS stuff. I actually tried to run OBS with ALSA only, which, you know, ALSA just works, Advanced Linux Sound Architecture, but yeah, Pulse Audio. So what this means is it's a public boot ROM exploit that probably until today was iPhone 4, released in 2010, and the biggest new iOS jailbreak in community in years. Oops, it was also mouse pointer on the background. So releasing this exploit free. You might also ask, other people ask, why does he not cash in 1 million or 2 million? Because it's, first of all, I don't certainly support selling exploits in the black market, because black hacking is not cool. We totally white or mostly gray hats here, and that he could probably not earn too much anyway, because it's not a remote exploit, it's a local USB tethered exploit. But I appreciate anyway, they also see people working a year, and on the black governmental backed security market it might be 1 million or 2 million. So full jailbreak with, he writes here, full jailbreak with CDR, but this is theoretically until someone makes it, right? It would run theoretically, but yeah, someone needs to do it. Research and developers can use it to dump secure ROM, so you can now, and also there you see security by obscurity and this total bullshit of not only signing, code signing. Yeah, so what did all the code signing got you? Well, first of all, we had plenty of security vulnerabilities over the last years anyway, and despite all the security by obscurity and code signing, anyway, it is broken free, which is totally amazing, because most of the devices are end of life or soon end of life, and at least eventually we could install Linux on this. Decrypt keybacks with AES engine, demote the device, enable JTAG, and you still need to additional hardware and software to use JTAG. So maybe also he asked here, maybe someone could figure out, so if you want to have a fun task, maybe you want to figure out how to use JTAG on an iPhone without proprietary hardware software, because you need a special iJTAG dongle for that. And exploit release today supports S5 something, all of those, T8 something whatsoever. So all as said until iPhone 10. And during iOS 12 beta in summer 2018, Apple patched the critical use after free. Also, you see amazing C code, right? Use after free, exactly what C language stuff gives us. In iOS USB boot code, this vulnerability can only be triggered over USB and requires physical access. It cannot be exploited remotely. The That how he discovered it is likely at least a couple of other researchers were able to exploit the vulnerability after discovering this patch. The patch is easy to find, but the vulnerability is not trivial to exploit on most devices. Bootrom exploit. And there you see exploit, right? So security researcher or hacker writes, Bootrom exploit for older devices makes iOS better for everyone. Jailbreaks and tweak developers will be able to jailbreak their phones on latest versions, and they will not need to stay on older iOS versions waiting for jailbreak. This will be safer. Comments in the audience want me to say load, operate, what do you want me to say? RISC, CISC, too blurry, learn. What else is new? Let's take a quick look here. Many people are happy. Here also some char, so something. The code, of course, I posted already is here. You can just run this with iPalm DFU. Of course, DFU stands for device firmware upload or something. And yeah, dump the ROM, decrypt the keyback and demote to JTAG. And of course, someone asked, does it mean stolen iPhones can now be unlocked? Yes, unfortunately, that means that. Previously, if a stolen iPhone was blacklisted, you could no longer, or it was locked to your iTunes account, you could not like reset or whatever it, unless it was with an iTunes with your Apple ID. But this also means that now people can unlock like locked stolen iPhones, so don't better lose your iPhones, which is certainly the best not to do anyway. The code here, of course, mostly assembler. I looked already into this. Here also some key apparently, whatever is in there. Let's see, view raw, what's in there. Yeah, okay, thank you for not showing that here then, whatever. The code, of course, is assembly, so if you wanted to see ARM assembly, we have taken a look on that yesterday in memcopies. So here's this, what was this, Mesa stick for juice, here alloc8 shell code. Also I like here this kind of constants right bed and something, just what you would use, and some fine assembly, so if you load and so on, some values and store and add and move, and yeah. Let's see what we have in the comments. Pop out that, pause that, and then we call it a day. But I certainly appreciate this. Leave me in the comments below what you think to this. I recurrently shout out here my opinion. Just like Android vendors, like not all, but some or most, many Android vendors allow you to unlock the bootloader and install your own software, which in my opinion, maybe I even, fun fact, write to the politicians in Germany or the EU and try to initiate some kind of right to repair analog initiative to like totally free you the devices you own. Because again, first of all, it's soon recycling material here, and second of all, it could be you are in, well, it could not happen so easily, but let's suppose you are quite tech savvy and buy an iPhone and later are dissatisfied, disappointed, want to run your Linux, and yeah, you can't. So in my opinion, this is not, Apple cannot tell you that's a PC or a computer and then tell you can't bring your own software. So most likely, just for the fun of it and seeing what comes out of this, never hurts to write some politicians. And by the way, fun fact, you all should do this. If you think politicians are stupid and do stupid shit, just write them a letter. Sometimes it helps, especially if they get millions of letters and eventually like millions of people on the streets for Friday or Future. Eventually, it should have at least somewhat an effect. Yeah, okay, sound was garbage. Thanks for that. Also Pulse Audio, do we have? Yeah, no, but maybe this time it wasn't Pulse Audio. I'm not sure if it already crashed in OBS, whatever. Good that you didn't miss much. Universal what? minute or so thinking about Mr. Bong 500 was thinking about making 100 free CISC, 100% free CISC-based instruction set. Well, CISC, I'm not the most impressed. I would much, but there is already RISC, right? But I mean, I don't stop you if you have fun with it. I'm much more a fan of RISC, so RISC 5 is mostly amazing. And meanwhile, so the Graver. What is really funny is I really would like to know what kind of emergency meetings they have, like meanwhile in Cupertino. And also on the other hand, maybe not much, because it is mostly older devices, so maybe it's like YOLO, so whatever. But well, again, for the consumers it is great, because most of these devices will soon not get updates anyway. So this is a total amazing DIY friendly, amazing stuff. Thank you so much for that. All this hard work, so appreciated. And Apple is still located there. Yes, I've been there, done that. I've not been in the space suit thing, but in the previous office I have been, as I disclosed already previously. I don't have the sticker with me. But anyway, I've been there in a conference room, talked with some people, fun stuff, but I didn't want to move there. So I think I mentioned already they wants to hire or purchase my company, but wasn't interested. Don't want to live in the United States. Want to have my fun here, like streaming on YouTube. Although I only, well, maybe earn less, but at least I'm probably more happy. At least I think I am. And I don't want to have a 24/7 corporate life there and all the American health insurance and guns, and you get the idea. RISC is yesterday's CISC too. Well, it's not as it. The RISC is not. The RISC is still much more reduced. So CISC, you saw in yesterday's memcopy video, you have this repeat stuff and all the other complexities. So RISC is still, although the lines are a little bit blurred, and of course latest CISC in x86 world are of course internally RISC. But I would argue, although I argued previously I argued the big benefit of CISC is compression, instruction compression. This is why many historic RISC architectures were not as performant, because they required usually like twice the memory bandwidth, because they or also cache and memory bandwidth. In my opinion, this is one major contributor to RISC performance, sometimes not as amazing as it could have been. And additionally, you see in latest Intel and AMD offerings, they are RISC for a very long time internally. Just like, fun fact, not only I think K6 was next gen, right, that AMD purchased, and which was RISC, and then I had this IDT WinChip, which I still have, which was RISC. Yes, and the IDT WinChip, this was like RISC. They had, I think, even marketing RISC x86 or something. And nowadays, of course, all of them are. However, they still have a super complicated instruction decoder, right? And this micro-op or emitting and microcoding. And so it makes the whole thing totally complicated. So I would probably rather have a well-designed RISC architecture, and maybe rather a highly multi-core version of that than this totally complicated CISC stuff. But soon more to come, RISC 5 coming here. Do you want to say load operand instead? Me to say load operand. What? Also, anyone gonna mess with isn't semi untether? What, when you reboot and all is good, you could legitimately break your device doing this. Also, if anyone is gonna mess with this isn't like semi untether. YOLO Borg was just like, what about how absurd the name has become? Call it whatever you want. It was just a note about what you're talking about. Just check ARM. I think 15 years ago, completely mental. Just check ARM. It's like CISC 15 years ago, completely mental. Yeah, ARM is not the most amazing RISC architecture, because the classic ARM instruction set has all the predicates for, I think nearly all of those instructions can be marked as execute when compare less than something, so 0 or whatever. So that probably also makes implementing it especially high performance certainly not easy, because you have the dependency on the flex state of comparison and such. So ARM, not the most amazing. This is why I'm much more hyped and looking forward to RISC, especially because it's patent and royalty free, so not to bother with the ARM holding limited stuff there. And yeah, I would not be using microcode. Okay, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this breaking news. Totally amazing, and certainly coming here soon next to us, especially on the very first gen iPhone and iPad, and trying to run this old code, certainly importing it to T2, and of course here somewhere, like not there but there, new MIPS 64 stuff coming to the Octane or Origin next to you. Leave in the comments below what you are most interested in and what you think about the code signing and boot locking situation, and whether you think if we own devices we should be able to run our own software. That's it for today. Have a good night, have a good weekend, see you tomorrow another day, and yeah, don't forget to share, like and subscribe for all the next amazing stuff to come.